mics.
I've got mine. We're back.
Hello.
How's it going?
Hello.
I think this is live 4.
I think this is our 4th today.
Live 4 for the day.
And my 2nd shirt for the day.
It's great.
It's great. We're happy to be here. I'm Darby.
And I'm Brooke.
And we're here with another and our final session for the day. And you've got questions.
We've got answers.
Where we try to answer your questions. Well, Brooke tries to answer your questions.
As many as we can, as quick as we can.
So if you've got questions, put them in the chat. Give us just a second. We're getting here. We're getting going. But we would love to answer any of your questions you have. So today is the last couple hours of, or last hour and a half, I guess, of the priority enrollment deadline. Really, there's 2 things happening today.
Yep.
In the next hour and a half, it's going to be, if you are wanting to go to BYU, Idaho, or Ensign College, you need to start that application. Lucky for you, starting your application is pretty minimal.
Super easy.
It's mostly just your contact information.
Yep.
And that starts counting it as a started application. If you want to go with PathwayConnect, also, we'd love for you to have that application started today because it helps us do some really important planning to make sure that you have a good experience and you have instructors and service missionaries and gatherings all organized. And to start that application too, it's really easy. It's pretty much the same thing. It's just your contact information.
You're just going to go to BYU-Pathway.org, and in the upper right-hand corner, you're going to click the button that says Apply for Free to get started. So it's as simple as that. We are just here to try to answer as many questions as possible. So if you're wondering, how do I enroll? Why can't I access this? Why can't I do that? We will do our best to get those questions answered. So feel free to put those in the chat. If you're a current student, we'd love to hear, like, where are you joining us from? If you think someone would benefit from hearing from us or has some questions they could answer, feel free to tag them or share this live with them. We'll be on for a little bit, just trying to answer as many questions as you guys have. We also have folks standing by in our direct messages that are trying to resolve any questions or concerns that come through there as well. Okay,
so if you're jumping on, I'm Darby.
And I'm Brooke.
And this is, you've got questions, we've got answers, and we've got a question on Facebook. What is the purpose of BYU Pathway, Brooke?
Yeah, so BYU Pathway is designed to help people around the world start or finish a university degree.
Yep, it's pretty straightforward.
Yep.
It's all about education and access.
Yeah. So we offer certificates, associates, and bachelor's degrees in job-ready certificates, highly marketable, highly employable, and the whole goal is just to help people improve their employment, finish what they started, etc.
Okay, so the price depends on the pathway, right? So we got so a couple things that price for your tuition depends on where you live.
Yep.
So through, if you go through PathwayConnect and do that part first 28 weeks, your price is prorated based on where you live.
Yep. So you can go to BYUPathway.org/tuition. Again, that's BYUPathway.org/tuition to see what BYU Pathway costs in your home country.
Okay, so awesome. We're glad to have you join us today, but let's keep jumping onto the questions.
I love it.
Into the chat. We've got some coming up.
All right.
And
someone said I registered.
Yeah, it depends on the region.
Yep, it does.
Yeah, I have a question. I registered to redo a class starting 9/11, but they moved me to the October 30 semester. But my religion class, okay.
Yes.
So Candace, my guess is you're starting PathwayConnect 102.
Yes. So that's accurate. So PathwayConnect used to be, each term was 14 weeks. We transitioned about a year ago where PathwayConnect 101 and 102 are now just 7 weeks. And so if you're coming back and just need to take 102, you will start in late October. So there's no reason to start that part sooner. But your religion class is the entire semester long. And so you're going to get that started the week of September 11th. And then you'll pick up 102 there at the end of October.
Okay. So we've got a question about tuition in a specific country. I'll let Brooke look that up real quick. If you're just joining us, we have questions coming in on Instagram. We have questions coming in on Facebook. We're going to answer those as quickly as we can in the order that they came in. The format of this video series is that you ask questions, we try to read them live, and then we try to answer them live. So you should see your question come up. Sometimes we
reword them.
The questions, especially if there's more than one that's just asked that question. But Brooke is going to look up a tuition rate that we got asked.
Okay, so there is another question, I think implied in Banu's question. So he says he's from Malaysia. So the tuition cost is based on where you live. So it's not necessarily where you're from. So we had someone that joined us yesterday and had asked and said, oh, I'm from, South America, but I'm living in Mexico right now. Which tuition rate will I pay? You're going to pay the tuition rate of the country in which you reside today. And so for Malaysia, if you are living in Malaysia right now, it's $7.50.
USD.
Yep, USD, so US dollars. And if you've got questions, you can go to BYUPathway.org/tuition to understand more about what it costs in your home country.
Do you want to throw that, since you're right there on Facebook,
Yeah.
into the chat? Okay. Thank you for joining us. We are getting to all of your questions. We appreciate your patience. It can take a couple of minutes. Here is our next question.
Yeah.
I'm trying to decide between applied business management and communications. I already have a commercial fundamentals certificate.
I love it.
Any thoughts on that, Brooke?
What do you want to do? What do you want to do professionally or personally afterward? Would be my first question. My undergraduate degree is in communication, and I love it. I had the best time, and it was a really great opportunity for me. So I loved learning all.
So Brooke will always say
So I'm going to be an advocate for that. I've worked in government and aviation and education. It's really transferable across industries.
Perfect. Okay. So what's our next one over here on?
All right. Nan says, I have registered for my last 3 courses for my first certificate. Yay! And I have a request for my first certificate, I think last month before the break. How long does it take to get that? I'm from Tonga. Okay. So that is a great question. So certificates were recently mailed out through BYU Idaho and Ensign College. I want to say they mailed them a couple of weeks ago. But so living in Tonga, it takes quite a bit of time to get there. So I would hold tight. I would say it should be there probably by the end of this month, hopefully. But you can go into your student portal and download a virtual version of your certificate. And then the physical copy will be there hopefully soon.
Love it. Okay.
And send us a picture when you get it. We love it. Like if you have your certificates, your diplomas, tag us, take a picture. We want to celebrate with you. It's really fun for us.
We love it. Okay. I'm from Tanzania, East Africa. I tried to study entrepreneurship and ended up losing hope. We're really sorry.
I'm so sorry.
It is a lot of work and it takes a lot of time.
Yes. And starting a business and doing that is so hard. So please don't give up hope. There's also lots of other certificates. So if maybe that wasn't the right path for you, I would invite you to look and see what other opportunities or options you have, to come back and to see if there's something that's a little bit more marketable or a little bit easier to get into in your home country. Okay. Thanks. Someone just gave us a shout out for doing lives. We love doing this. It's one of our favorite things to just be able to answer questions. We know that you have lots of questions, and sometimes it's hard to find the answers. Yes. So it's really fun to ask Brooke to answer the questions live, and you get us a good time.
So just hang out with you and answer these questions. Okay, so the religion courses, yes. They are 14 weeks.
It is 14 weeks. Yep.
So if you're in PathwayConnect, you're going to finish PathwayConnect 101 and 102 in a semester because it's a block. Yep. And the Institute or religion course is going to cover that full 14 weeks. It's just going to be one class. So. Okay. We've got someone, Marlon said, I finished Pathway back in 2014. I've always wanted to get back ever since. Do I have to apply again and start all over? No, you don't have to start all over. Okay. So if you have finished PathwayConnect, and you're ready to go on to BYU Idaho or Ensign College online, you're in business. You've got about an hour and 20 minutes to start your application to go on to BYU Idaho and Ensign College and start in September. So if you can still log into your student portal, that's going to be ideal. So you're going to go to BYUPathway.org and click sign in. And then it should pull in your information. If you have any issues with that, send us a direct message. And we'll be happy to create a ticket or try to help with that. So again, you're going to go to BYUPathway.org. You're going to click on that sign in button. You'll log into your student portal, and then in the upper right hand corner, you'll see a little person icon and a little triangle down. You'll click there, and then there's a button that says My Applications. And that's where you're going to go to start your application to BYU Idaho or Ensign College online. And we would love to have you come back. Yes, please do. And like Brooke said, the deadline for starting an application for BYU Idaho or Ensign College, that starting the application deadline is in like an hour and 20 minutes, hour and 18 minutes. Yep. So go ahead and start it. It's a pretty easy start. Yep. Okay, so what's the difference between the preferred path and the advanced path? Oh, man, we get people so confused with this one.
I know.
And it is confusing. We will try it. And luckily, we have the perfect person to explain it.
All right, so the preferred path is the path that starts with PathwayConnect. So we recommend that everyone start with PathwayConnect. It's a great opportunity. It's a 28-week start. So in your first 7 weeks, you're doing life skills, so time management, budgeting, growth mindset, some math and English is mixed in sort of across the board. PathwayConnect 102, the next 7 weeks is all about professional skills.
Oh, I could have done this part.
So that's that part. So that's sort of explaining what PathwayConnect is and that preferred path.
That is the preferred path. And it really helps prepare you and set you up for success as you enter the university.
Yeah.
I went back as an older student right into the university, and it was hard. And I had forgotten a lot of how to learn. And so PathwayConnect would have been a nice, soft start.
Yeah.
And that's really what it provides, or one of the things it provides.
Yep.
Okay.
And by week 15, you're starting your first class toward your certificate. So it's not like you're waiting like this extra crazy amount of time to get started and get in. If you want to do the advanced path, that's going directly into BYU Idaho or Ensign College Online. In doing so, you're going to pay the full tuition rate for BYU Idaho or Ensign College Online. When you start with PathwayConnect and complete the preferred path, here in the United States, it's just $81 a credit. That's prorated based on where you live. Different regions of the world pay different pricing based on what's happening in their local economies. When you go directly into BYU Idaho or Ensign College or that advanced path, it's $139 a credit. So it is significantly more. That's the same price no matter where you live. And you're able to sort of jump right in. And so that's part of why we say the preferred path is what we recommend folks to do. You're going to secure a great tuition rate and you're starting your class toward your first certificate by week 15.
So awesome. Okay. I enjoyed BYU Pathway, but I felt that my English wasn't enough and I gave up. Any suggestions?
We would love to have you come back.
We would love to have you come back.
One thing that I would say is we actually have some students where English is their second language, where they're doing EnglishConnect and BYU Pathway at the same time. So if you're not familiar with EnglishConnect, it is a program that's also provided by the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and we help people all around the world learn English. And so I would recommend that you enroll in EnglishConnect 3 and BYU Pathway at the same time. It's going to give you an opportunity to have access to an online app to go through and practice your speaking. You're going to have a weekly gathering similar to what you have in PathwayConnect, where you're going to have dedicated speaking partners. You're going to be able to practice your English skills. The other thing that you can do is when learning another language, it helps to do just sort of some everyday activities in that language, just so you get more used to hearing it. So we recommend about 10 hours a week when you're learning a new language. So that could be watching a movie in your native language with English subtitles or vice versa, listening to music or a general conference talk. There's lots of options to just sort of get additional exposure. But we're really proud of you because learning a new language is so hard.
So hard.
And then going to university in another language.
I can't even.
I admire you guys so much.
Yeah. Okay, we have a transcripts question, Brooke. Yeah. They said they've requested the transcripts back in May, and that hasn't really been happening yet. Any thoughts or ideas about what to do? Yeah.
So if you'll send us a direct message, we'll try to figure out what's going on. I know that right now getting the transfer evaluation is taking a long time. There's just a lot of requests for that, and it is a manual process. We have team members that stand by. They sort of review absolutely every credit they can give you credit for they want to, and so it does take a little bit longer because people are doing it individually. So if you'll send us a direct message with your student ID and that information, and we've got folks who can sort of check in and see what's going on.
Okay. I want you to read over this one. And if you're just joining us, I'm Darby and this is Brooke.
Hi.
And this is our series called You've Got Questions, We've Got Answers. And I jokingly call it You've Got Questions, Brooke's Got Answers. But no, really, ask us your questions and we'll try to answer these live here In the chat, we're going back and forth between Facebook and Instagram, and so sometimes it takes a minute, but we really are reading every single question and trying to come up with an answer that can help you out right now.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, so Marlon, send us a direct message. If you remember what your student ID is, that's awesome. If not, just let us know, and we can try to do some digging. We can create a support ticket. And we know that the deadline is tonight, but sometimes there's some extenuating circumstances. So we'll try to work with the team at BYU Idaho and Ensign College, knowing that you're trying to log in and your credentials aren't working anymore. Yeah. So we'll do our best to try to get you the help that you need.
Send that ticket in. Send that in right now so they can document that it came in before the deadline.
Yes.
And just give us as much information as you have. And like we said, like Rick said, they'll create a ticket and try to escalate or work to escalate that. So we can help you out because we want you to come back. Yeah. Okay, so our institute's required to finish PathwayConnect 103.
Yeah. So technically right now it's not required, but it is highly recommended. And let me tell you why. It's free credits. You're literally leaving free credits on the table if you don't take Institute during PathwayConnect. Because once you transition to BYU Idaho or Ensign College, you're going to have to pay money for that religion credit. So I would highly recommend participating in Institute during PathwayConnect. And I believe by next year it will be a requirement.
Okay, so it's that's kind of changed a little bit. I have a support ticket sent in from my peer mentor, and I received an email saying they're waiting on an agent. How many days does that usually take?
Yeah.
It is so busy right now.
Yeah.
So it's going to take a little longer than normal.
Yeah. So, Christy, unfortunately, we don't have a direct answer. We don't have insight into those support tickets that they're working, but we know that we've got people working peak hours. It's 11 p.m., almost 11 p.m. here in Utah, and Darby and I are here trying to answer as many questions as we can. We've got folks sort of standing by trying to answer those questions. So unfortunately, we don't have an exact number of days that it usually takes. During peak time, it's going to take longer. So we would just ask that you have patience and trust that we're trying to answer as many questions as we can, and the team is working through to resolve those tickets. Depending on what your support ticket or issue is, if you want to ask it here, we may or may not know the answer or be able to provide additional insight.
Okay. We've got a couple good questions. I'm going to let Brooke take a peek at those real quick, and I'm going to invite everybody to put your questions in the chat. That's how this works. It's the best way for us to try to, we have like basic answers we always give, but we really love to hear your questions because they're more specific and they help us learn and they help other people's kind of find answers that are similar. So make sure to put your questions in the chat if you have anything, and we will do our best. We don't know everything,
but we usually know who to ask if we don't know the answer.
Okay.
Okay. So this is from Dorcia, and so she said, I enrolled in this fall semester, and I'd like to learn how to submit my lessons on my laptop. Okay, so you're in your student portal. You're going to get access to a program called Canvas, and that's what we use to submit all of our assignments. So the Saturday before classes start, September 9th for this semester, you're going to get access to Canvas, and there'll be some tutorials on how to walk through in your new student orientation. Also in your student portal, there'll be more information about how to utilize Canvas. And if you have additional questions, your peer mentor can help. So every student that's facilitated or supported by BYU Pathway Worldwide has access to a peer mentor. So if you've just enrolled, if you've just started your application, we are getting as many of those peer mentors assigned as quickly as we can, but you will have a peer mentor, and they're going to be able to troubleshoot, to answer questions, to sort of be that first line of support for you.
Yep. These are great questions. Okay. Hello, I'm from Mexico. I was studying medical billing and coding to work remote from here for an American company, but then I realized the companies kind of want their workers for that specific role to work in the U.S. So, any thoughts on that, Brooke?
That's a great question. So I am not as familiar with the medical billing and coding certificate, but I do know that we have quite a few people who receive certificates all over the world and are working remotely. And so I wouldn't give up altogether. And if you want to reach out and chat with an advisor, they might be able to help you understand more about what specific certificates or degrees are most beneficial in Mexico. But we have at least 1,300 BYU Pathway students around the world that are working remote jobs for US-based companies. And we're working to try to get as many student jobs as possible. So stay tuned for that. We are working really hard to build relationships with companies around the world and be able to provide greater opportunities for students.
Awesome. If you're just joining us again, I'm Darby.
I'm Brooke.
This is called You've Got Questions, We've Got Answers, where you ask questions, we give answers. Keep your questions coming. We're going to try to answer as much as we can. As we've been kind of advertising and talking about a lot, the priority enrollment deadline for PathwayConnect is tonight. As long as there's room, you can still apply and get accepted into PathwayConnect. But if it becomes too full, sometimes some areas might close and then you'll need to wait until January. However, for tonight, if you are trying to move on to BYU Idaho or Ensign College and work on your bachelor's degree, that is a hard deadline tonight. You need to start that application. And you have just a little bit over an hour. So we really want you to not miss out. If you're having problems that are kind of beyond your control, make sure you send in a message to our either Facebook or Instagram so we can document that. So if they're able to, that they might be able to grant an exception in some cases. We were talking to someone earlier where that was the case. Okay, what do we have up next here, Brooke?
All right. Someone said, thank you. My support ticket is because when I tried to register for 3 classes this semester, it gives me a medical coding block 1 and body systems 1 and 2 for the second block, and that just seems odd. That does seem a little odd, Christy. So it might be that it's body systems 1 and 2 where like they might not stack on each other. It might be like, oh, it's this part of the body and that part of the body. So it's not necessarily like a prerequisite, but that does seem a little bit odd. And so they'll be able to get that support over to you and answer those questions. Hopefully we'll get someone to respond quickly. They're trying to get through just as many of those specific questions and tickets as possible.
Okay, so we have a question about difficulty with paying using like a credit card like you would for tuition. So what are the options if somebody's having problems with like a payment source in their country for tuition?
Send us a direct message. We'll try to work with the finance team to see if there's any additional opportunities or available. What we've also seen is sometimes people will work with a friend or a family member that has a credit card or has a bank account, and then you can give them the cash or the physical money in place of using a bank card. So that's one option that you can do. And send us a direct message. We'll see what we can, what advice the finance team has for that as well.
Awesome. And these are really, really great questions. Okay, over here, there's a question about kind of some advice. I would like to know if the course Business Administration will help me become an entrepreneur or a general manager and other. So I mean, I have a sister who's taking the business administration. She's getting business administration for her bachelor's degree, and they have a little farm that they run, and that is her goal with what she's doing with it. So I know that she's found the accounting courses really helpful, and she's also taken some creative classes with Photoshop and some programs like that to help create things. So I feel like that's a really good path if those are some of the skills you want, because they do build those business skills. Any thoughts?
I totally agree.
Okay.
That's a good idea.
So we're glad to have you here. Everybody, just keep the questions coming. We'll try to stay on as long as we can to answer questions, as long as they're coming in.
Yep.
Okay, so
we're all caught up on Facebook.
We are all caught up on Facebook. Why is it not possible to study a career like medicine or something like that in healthcare via BYU Pathway?
Yeah. So a couple things. So we do have a degree in applied health. So while it's not medicine in the sense of being a doctor or a nurse, there is an option to go into a healthcare field through BYU Pathway. And the reason why we don't offer like nursing or medicine or things like that is that there are a lot of individual requirements by country, by state. There's different licensing opportunities or exams that have to be taken. And so BYU Pathway is really designed to help make the degrees applicable everywhere in the world. So we have students from 188 countries. So offering things that require those type of specific country by country licensing isn't really possible for us. And so we try to help with sort of baseline things that are applicable across the world. So things like communication, business, health, professional studies, technology, human and family studies. So there are options to work in sort of a health adjacent field, but medicine or nursing isn't an option. And if you're just joining us and you've got questions, put those in the chat. We're happy to try to answer as many as we can. And if you're thinking, gosh, I think I'm ready to apply, I want to do this, go to BYU-Pathway.org. In the upper right-hand corner, there's going to be a button that says Apply for Free. And that's how you can get started with PathwayConnect. We would love to have you. We're happy to sort of answer as many questions as we can. Again, if you are feeling like I'm ready to do this, I want to start school in September, go to BYU-Pathway.org, and in that upper right-hand corner, you're going to click that Apply for Free button. And then if you have anyone that you feel like could benefit from BYU Pathway, tag them in this chat, share this live with them. We want to try to answer their questions as well.
So, Brooke, somebody asked if we thought that tuition prices were going to go up in the next year.
Yeah.
So, earlier you shared how little tuition prices have actually gone up in the last 3 years.
Yeah.
And it's been in the U.S.
$4.
$4.
Yep.
So, if they do increase, which could happen, I think that
It's probably going to be a couple of dollars.
BYU Pathway really tries to keep everything just like as affordable as possible.
Yeah.
So there's a possibility that will happen. We don't actually
We don't know. There's nothing on the horizon that we're aware of, but that is possible. Most universities will have a slight tuition increase every year.
Okay. So let's see. Oh, someone was talking about an option there. Okay.
Yep.
Hello, I'd like to know what needs to be done to get a job after finishing the degree. So, yeah, you guys have been talking a lot about job readiness.
We have, and we actually have some real fun stuff that we're working on in career development and job readiness. A couple of things that I would recommend is getting your resume up to date, getting your LinkedIn profile ready so that you're marketable, that recruiters can find you. You can look for jobs on LinkedIn. So if you actually go to BYUPathway.org/LinkedIn, again, that's BYUPathway.org/LinkedIn, LinkedIn. So BYUPathway.org/LinkedIn. You can actually access a guide that we've put together on how to create a great LinkedIn account, one that will hopefully help you get recognized by recruiters. There's even some specific language that you can use. So people who are interested in recruiting BYU Pathway students specifically will be able to find you.
Mm-hmm.
So again, that's BYUPathway.org/LinkedIn, BYUPathway.org/LinkedIn.
Of course, I choked on my water.
All right, over there.
While you're saying that. If you're just joining us, I'm Darby.
I'm Brooke.
I'm still joking.
And this is our series called You've Got Questions, We've Got Answers. So we are just here to try to answer as many questions as we can. We'll sort of stay on for the next bit as questions are still coming in.
Mm-hmm.
But feel free to put anything in the chat. Today is the priority deadline for BYU Pathway. And so what that means is if you get your application started by today, we can guarantee that you've got a slot in most places. There are a few locations around the world that we've already reached our enrollment cap. But by and large, we can guarantee your ability to start school this September if you get your application started today. So that's by going to BYUPathway.org and clicking on that gold button that says Apply for Free to get started. So as long as you get your application started today, we can sort of guarantee that in most locations. And if you are looking to go on to BYU Idaho or Ensign College online, you're going to want to get that application started. You've got 59 minutes.
Yeah.
So it is a hard deadline. So it is possible to skip PathwayConnect and go directly to BYU Idaho or Ensign College online. And so you would do that. You can even just Google or you can go to byui.edu/online to start that application if you want to skip PathwayConnect. We will warn you that it is more expensive. So when you start with PathwayConnect, here in the United States, you're paying $81 a credit. When you go directly to BYU Idaho or Ensign College online, it's $139 a credit. So absolutely possible. It's just a little bit more expensive. You will also have to provide your ACT or SAT scores, any transfer credits, transcripts you'll have to provide, as well as an ecclesiastical endorsement.
And we get this question a lot because we talk about that price being the price in the U.S. When you go through PathwayConnect, you get a price based on where you live.
Yeah.
The United States tuition rate is the highest of
Yeah.
all of the countries. So if you live in a country with a lower tuition rate, you get that tuition rate during your degree. But if you're able to go directly into BYU, Idaho, or Ensign College using what's called the advanced path, you pay the list price for your whole degree.
Yeah.
You don't get prorated for your country.
No.
So that's a big advantage of doing PathwayConnect is, just the tuition.
Yeah.
We've had a number of friends here in the U.S. also just, it was, they had time and stuff, but they just really wanted like the lower tuition.
Yeah.
And that really made a difference in their ability to do that. So
yeah, here in the U.S. it ends up being about $60 a credit, which when you're doing 160 or 120 credits, that really adds up. And so that's part of why we recommend most folks start with the preferred path with PathwayConnect over starting with the advanced path directly to BYU Idaho.
You were just talking to someone about that today.
Yeah.
They were kind of looking at how much school costs for their children and saying, okay,
oh my gosh,
we probably need to be
doing
more
PathwayConnect.
Yeah,
a little more thoughtful with that.
Okay, so if you're just joining us again, I'm Darby and this is Brooke. This is called You've Got Questions, We've Got Answers. As long as we're getting questions in, we'll keep giving answers out. If there's no more questions, we'll kind of wrap up in a little bit. But I think we do have a few on Facebook or on Instagram and Facebook. So if you have a question, anything you want to ask, put it in the chat. We'll sit here and try to answer as long as we can.
Yep. Okay, so Tessa asks, if a student continued the assessment tomorrow, is there an opportunity to finish the enrollment since he started the assessment already? Yes. So you just need to get it started. So you've got about an hour to get it started, and they can absolutely finish it tomorrow. So it just needs to be started and sort of opened, if you will.
The application.
Yep.
Yeah, and that should count as a started application before you start that English assessment.
Yes.
Yep. But yeah, if you start the English test and you get interrupted, you can go back to it, right?
Yes.
Okay. Which is fantastic. Okay, again, if you're just joining us, keep putting questions in the chat. We'll try to stay here as long as we're having questions. If we don't have any questions, we'll kind of start wrapping up. So our goal is just to try to answer as many BYU Pathway related questions you might have. This is your opportunity to just pick Brooke's brain.
That's a tongue twister.
And just kind of dig in. Like if you haven't been able to find that answer, if anybody knows it, Brooke does.
Awesome. All right, so Isabel says, is there any way to register for more classes this semester? My daughter still cannot fill her schedule with anything more than 2 block classes this semester. The system tells her that there are no more available classes. She's starting with Ensign College. So Isabel, I haven't heard of any issues where people haven't been able to schedule more classes. So if you could send us a screenshot of that issue or that pop-up, whatever's coming up that she's not unable to register for additional classes, as well as her student ID, that would be helpful, and then our team can sort of look into that and figure out what's going on.
Yep, that would be great. Okay, so this says, what's the shortest time to finish PathwayConnect? So PathwayConnect is 28 weeks.
Yep.
That's the shortest we've been able to get it down.
Yeah, it used to be 3 full semesters, and now it's only 2.
Yes. So that is as quickly as you can take it, because you take PathwayConnect 101, 102, 103 in succession, but not at the same time. And then when you finish that and you work towards your bachelor's degree with BYU Idaho or Ensign College, a traditional bachelor's degree is what's called 120 credits, and it will take, if you took full-time 4 classes a semester, it would take about 4 years or 8 semesters to finish that. Some people take a lot longer, some people do it a little bit faster depending on how much previous college they have, how much time they have to take classes. So roughly, that's about how long it takes.
Yep. I love it. Perfect.
Okay. How do I get an ecclesiastical endorsement if I am not a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints?
Okay, awesome. So you are still going to go to endorse.byu.edu, and in there you'll be able to sort of follow the prompts. You will put in your address, and you'll see, you'll get the contact information for the bishop of your geographic region. So all of our congregations are based on geography. So when you put in your address, it'll say, oh, this is the bishop that's assigned to this geographic region. And you can call that number. Sometimes there'll be an email, and you can email them to get an appointment to set your ecclesiastical endorsement. So again, you're going to go to endorse.byu.edu. You're going to select that you're a student, and then you'll be able to schedule an appointment with the bishop that's assigned to your geographic region or branch president.
Okay. I love it. Okay, so we have a question about PathwayConnect.
Yeah.
Someone's saying they're not able to attend their first gathering. What happens? So it's honestly, so when you take PathwayConnect, one of the questions every week is, did you attend the gathering or did you attend an alternate gathering? So there's a couple of choices. You have service missionaries. They probably have already reached out to you if you've been registered for more than a week.
Yep.
If you haven't been registered for more than a week, they're working on it. But I promise you, they are amazing and they will reach out to you. Let them know and they will help you find a different gathering to attend, but just a different group. Same curriculum, different group. And then you get the points on your grade for attending a gathering. If you absolutely can't, I took PathwayConnect. I had a few times I couldn't attend. It's just a few points that you lose for that week. But if you're like, I just can't go at that time, they will help you find a different gathering to attend. It's no big deal. We had guests all the time in our gathering, and we had other friends in our group who had to go to a different one.
Yep.
So those are kind of the options, those two options. Are there dedicated times in PathwayConnect that you have to attend live? Yes, there's the gathering, which I was just talking about. So when you register for BYU Pathway and you register for PathwayConnect, the program, you are going to select a gathering time. There's usually a few options. So you're going to choose maybe something in the evening on a Thursday or in the morning on a Wednesday. They usually run Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, depending on where you're at. There's going to be a couple of options. And that is a live experience. It's only an hour. And so find something that consistently works for you. Now, when you go on to BYU Idaho and Ensign College, you do not have that same live experience, but you will have group work where you have to coordinate with a group maybe all over the world and find a time, but it's a little bit different and it's class by class.
Yep. Isabel has a backup. Who do we send the screenshot and ID info? So if you'll just send us a direct message. So on our page, there should be a button that says message, and you can just sort of copy and paste what you said before about the issue with the screenshots, and then the team will be able to escalate that.
Awesome. Okay, we'll just wait around a few more minutes, see if there's any other questions while we're here. Regardless, we're always happy to be here and answer questions. And I know next week, it's going to be kind of a different conversation. We're probably going to talk a lot about the Heber J grant tuition discount. We're going to talk a lot about accepting your offer. What else do you think we're going to talk about next week? Finishing up your application?
Yeah, finishing your application. If you've got any lingering questions about ecclesiastical endorsements.
Yeah.
So we just want to help. That's, this is a brainchild of Darby's. We had been going live here and there, and then she said, what if we just go live as we get close to the enrollment deadline and ask people as many questions, try to answer as many questions as there are out there.
So instead of you having to type them in, I mean, although you are typing them in,
but
we're answering them live right here.
Yeah.
And we're happy to be here. So we'll wait a couple more minutes, see if there's any other questions. Other than that, if there's not, we'll jump off. So we'll just we'll do one of my favorite things, which is greatest hits.
Okay.
Brooke,
I love it. Can't wait.
15 seconds this time. It's a new challenge. It's usually 30 seconds. What is BYU Pathway?
We help people start or finish a university degree completely online.
Who's it for?
Everyone.
Whoa.
So everyone can benefit from higher education.
Do you have to be a member of the church?
You do not have to be a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints to participate in BYU Pathway.
What's the there is a tuition difference?
Yes.
Okay.
So if you are a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, you're going to pay the rate that's listed. If you are not a member of the church, there is a 25% increase. So if tuition is a $1 US credit, it's going to be $1.25 if you are not a member of the church. Part of that is because you're paying, members of the church are typically paying tithing, and so there's just a slight increase to help offset that cost.
Okay, I'm going to throw in a trick question for you.
Yeah.
Can you get a minute this time?
Okay.
Can you further explain the BYU Pathway and BYU Hawaii Partnership?
Yes. So this is specifically for individuals that are living in Asia, Pacific, or the Philippines. And this is an opportunity when you complete PathwayConnect with a 3.0 GPA or higher, you'll receive preferred admission to BYU Hawaii. So you're going to be able, once you finish PathwayConnect with that 3.0 or higher, when you go to enroll in BYU Hawaii, you'll receive preferred admission. So that means that you'll get some preferential treatment. You'll also get preferred entrance into the iWork scholarship program. So that's the opportunity to work at the Polynesian Cultural Center or in one of the hotels, and to have sort of a campus job to support you while you're there.
And that's kind of a unique experience because BYU Pathway is not designed to
No.
help people get to campus. So the Hawaii relationship is unique.
Yep.
That we don't have that with BYU Idaho or Ensign College. So
And it's just for people from Oceania and the Asia Pacific Rim.
So me from Utah,
Nope.
can't do it.
Nope.
Actually-
It's only for people in
Yeah.
the Philippines, Asia Pacific.
Okay, so that's good to know. Okay, tell me what is the Heber J grant tuition discount?
It's a tuition discount for all students, and you'll receive 10, 25, or 50% off, and it is good for about 2 years, and then you'll retake it. So everyone who fills out the application will get at least 10% off, up to 50% off.
Now, do they need to do anything when they transfer to BYU Idaho and Ensign College?
Nope.
No, because they're...
It'll just stay with you because you're still being serviced by BYU Pathway. So when you finish PathwayConnect and you go on to BYU Idaho or Ensign College online, your service is still being provided by us. Your peer mentor is coming through us, your advisors, all of that is still coming through BYU Pathway,
And
even though you're a BYU Idaho or Ensign College online student.
And how do they know that?
So when you go to log in for your classes, you're going to log in using the BYU Pathway portal.
And
it'll be branded BYU Idaho or branded Ensign College, but you are logging in using BYU Pathway credentials.
I love it. Okay. Return missionary tuition discount.
Yeah.
Do it.
Love it. So anyone who has returned home from a mission in the last 5 years, so if that was a full-time mission, whether that was proselyting or service, you're going to qualify for 25% off your tuition. That tuition discount is good for 5 years from the day you come home from your mission. It's just our way of saying thank you. It used to be just during PathwayConnect, and we recently announced that it is good through your online certificate and degrees. So say you came home 18 months ago, you've got 3.5 years worth of this 25% tuition discount, and it will stack with the Heber J grant tuition discount.
Which is amazing.
So that's 35% off.
Okay. Okay, we're just running through our favorite questions right here. So if there's no other questions, we'll jump off in a minute.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk really quickly about
what degrees we offer?
Yeah, that's a good one.
Okay.
Can you count them?
Yeah. So one time Darby was like, "There's 7," and she only had 6 fingers up.
It was tired.
It was
okay.
late. So we offer bachelor's degrees in applied business management, in communication, applied health, human and family, in professional studies, in information technology, as well as web development. So it's a great opportunity to learn and grow, and we would love to help you. So we also offer marketable certificates in 28 different areas of interest. So if you're wondering, if you're thinking about joining, go ahead and go to BYU-Pathway.org. That's where you can learn more. And if you're ready to get your application started, in that upper right-hand corner, there's going to be a button that says apply for free, and we would love to help you.
Awesome. And I think we're going to wrap up. So
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone. Again, we cannot stress this enough. If you are working on your application for BYU Idaho or Ensign College, you have to start that.
You got 45 minutes.
Yeah, 45 minutes. If you are working to apply for BYU Pathway and do PathwayConnect, you have a little more time. It would be great to have that application started because then we can start planning. If you are coming back as a returning student, we know as of right now, this on the 22nd of August, there is an issue. So don't stress.
Don't stress. Send us a direct message, and we would be happy to help.
Okay. Brooke, one last question.
Okay.
One last question. Okay, sorry.
Okay, so this person is saying, if I apply to BYU Pathway in the same year that I complete Pathway, will I receive an introductory certificate as well? Okay, so I think what you're asking is, how long will it take for me to get my first certificate? So PathwayConnect is 28 weeks, and you'll start your first class toward your certificate during PathwayConnect 103, which is 15 weeks in. So a typical certificate takes 5 classes, and so doing PathwayConnect and your first certificate is going to take you 3 to 4 semesters to do.
Yep. So close, but maybe a little bit more.
Yeah, a year to a year and a quarter, depending on how quickly you're taking those certificate classes.
Yep, and how the prerequisites work out.
Yep.
So thank you everyone for joining us.
So good to have you.
Okay.
Have a great
Bye.
night. Bye.